getting access, and all of that is largely done to make sure that these people have nobody to tell their story to.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Hang on one sec. We're less than 10 minutes here, so I'm going to ask all of you to make your answers a little tighter if you can to make sure we get everything covered. Lenin, go ahead.
Yeah, as she said, they have been kept under strict this thing. Before a few days ago, the people who came from the LTT area, right, in that particular area where they were staying, there was a suicide bombing happened. She would definitely deny that, because in place to keep them under secured areas, government has decided to keep them for some time so that they will not be harmed. If we leave them out, there will be much more suicide bombings in the civilian areas.
Cheran.
Well, I mean, I would like to say briefly, it is not a question of peace blooming. You know, I would rather say there is doom. And, you know, it is not the question of we are going to be having a peace blooming. But, you know, it's very clear. I mean, it's also very interesting that Mr. Lenin Benedict made this point. It is a war against terror. And this is the dominant discourse that determines the entire Sri Lankan thing. That is fundamentally erroneous. And we know what exactly happened in the name of war on terror.
Right. Well, let me ask David the political question here. Do you think the majority of Tamils could accept a settlement which did not include a separate state for Tamils?
That was put on the table by Tigers, Liberation Tigers of Tamil in 2002. Who rejected it? The party rejected is the Sri Lankan government, and the present president of Sri Lanka, who ran on the platform saying that we don't want to give anything under the United Sri Lanka, we want to give a unitary constitution. It means very less powers. And there are people of hardcore elements in the southern polity. They don't want to give anything to Tamils.
Well, Bob Ray told us earlier that neither side was particularly enamored with the federalist type of option that was being offered.
But this is on the document. I have it on the paper. It's on the public domain. Anybody can go and see that. The Tigers proposed ISGA, Interim Self-Governing Authority.
In which case, let me ask Asoka, do you think the majority, stand by Lenin, I'll get to you in a second.
Yeah.
Do you think the majority of Sri Lankans could accept a federal kind of Sri Lankan state where the Tamils have a certain amount of authority and power over their own affairs? I don't want to push this comparison too far, but in a sense, the way Quebec operates within Canada.
I think that's possible at this point in time, because people want peace, people are desperate for peace, people want some way to go on with their lives. I think the Sinhalese people and the other people in the south, the Tamils and the Muslims, I think they will favorably look upon a constitutional arrangement which gives some autonomy to the provinces, but they want to make sure that it's not a backdoor to independence. Now, in Canada, we had Prime Minister Chrétien coming up with the Clarity Act.
Well, we also had 2 referendums in this country, and they haven't had that there either, have
Can
they?
we propose something here?
Yeah. Well,
what we are saying,
David.
we are asking a United Nations, a referendum supervised by the United Nations, like what happened in East Timor, to have the right to self-determination for Tamils. Are they in favor of that?
Unfortunately, if we have a referendum today, it will
under
be
United Nations supervision.
It will be it will be the Tamil people who the LTTE.
No, LTTE. You say that LTTE is limited to one side.
Let me finish.
It will be.
Yeah, it will be the entire north has been ethnically cleansed by the LTTE.
Which is not true.
Okay.
The Muslims have been thrown out from their own place.
Yes, the Muslims are thrown out. So,
if I understand, you're saying if you had a referendum, it wouldn't be fair, it wouldn't be accurate.
It wouldn't be fair. It doesn't reflect the population that was there before.
The main thing is, we will oppose for a referendum if it happens, even if it is conducted by the UN, because these people, the IGA, what Mr. David Poopalapillai was talking about, making LTT as a sole single party in the conflict, which we will not agree at any level.
No, they said
because
that
IGA was only with LTT, which we are totally against. What democracy is that? What democracy did they talk about?
ISGA proposed elections after a few years of
it was a temporary agreement.
It's on public
domain at once.
Yeah.
David, finish your thought.
ISGA said proposed elections after a few years of administration, because the interim
we had
it everywhere in the world. Wherever this conflict was raging on, when there is a settlement comes up, you go for interim settlement and make that interim settlement a permanent settlement. That's what proposed in Sri Lanka. Sinhala polity rejected it. Now they are rejecting the referendum as well.
Let me hear from Anna here, please. Anna, I know your group likes to stay away from politics. However, I wonder if you have a view as to what political option might best serve the human rights needs of the area. What's your view on that?
Well, if again, I do try to stay away from political analysis here, and you have plenty of people on the panel making this political analysis. I would say human rights come first. Before we can discuss any political analysis, any political settlement, any referendum, we need to make sure that there are people to participate in this referendum. So far, the prospects are that half of the people who could potentially participate in the referendum will be killed, and another half will be confined in internment camps indefinitely. So as long as that's the reality, I don't think we're there yet discussing any kind of political solution. But I do think how Sri Lankan government treats Tamils right now will seriously affect whether the end of this war is near or not. Going back to what the question you asked at the very beginning, because the military phase may be over, but if this kind of treatment continues, the actual victory will never be won.
Okay, I want Cheran, and then control room, please have the Toronto Star graphic standing by. I'll hear from Cheran.
Well,
first.
I mean, I am in agreement in principle with the previous speaker, but if the successive Sri Lankan governments have respected the fundamental rights and human rights of the Tamil people, the problem would not have gone out of hand. That is the first point. The second point, the F word in Sri Lanka, the federalist F word in Sri Lanka is federalism. You know, it has never been accepted by the large majority Sinhalese community. So I do not think that any Sri Lankan government will ever conceive or implement any kind of solution that would include federalism. That is a bygone conclusion. And finally, as far as my experience and my reading of the situation is concerned, any kind of solution will not work other than either a confederation or a separation that has become reality.
David?